Let's continue. We're going to talk about Seudah Shlishit. That's the next chapter after what we did yesterday, right, which was the morning Seudah. So, Seudah Shlishit, right, Chazal say, the Shulchan Aruch starts out right away. It says, very important, this Seudah, so don't think it's something light, it's okay, don't need it. Not so, right? Very important, Seudah Shlishit. We already said, right, last time we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, that it says in Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, Kuf Yud Chet Amud Aleph, that if a person does Seudah Shlishit, Shalosh Seudot on Shabbat, he's saved from three things, right? Which is the Milchemet Gog uMagog, right? Gog uMagog, and also, right, Chevlei Mashiach, and also Shibud Galuyot. What does this mean? Gog uMagog, right? The war, which is going to be before Mashiach, the big war, and a lot of people are going to die at that time, So, you know what they say, right? 3/4 of the world is going to be wiped out. Billions of people are going to be wiped out on that war. Gog uMagog. So you're going to be saved, right? That's the one thing. Then you have also, right, as we said, right, Chevlei Mashiach. So what does that mean? The sufferings that are going to be before Mashiach, all kinds of suffering. We see what's going on, right? Terrorists are attacking people, killing people. People are getting killed for no reason. Innocent people are getting killed. Chevlei Mashiach. It's a very difficult time. A lot of violence going on. He's going to be saved from that. And also number 3, Shibud Galuyot. Right? What does that mean? That the Malchuyot, right, the Goyim are not going to be able to rule over him. They cannot control him. They have no control over him because he does Shalosh Seudot on Shabbat. So he's saved from that too. That's a big thing. Why? Because they do all kinds of things, right? You have the IRS, right? You have the FBI, right? All kinds of things. Okay, you never know what's going to be. But if you do Shalosh Seudot, they can't touch you. That's a big thing. It's a big zechut. Okay, so let's see, right? How do we do it? That's the thing, right? The Seudah Shlishit. Okay, how do we do? So number 1, the question is, right? What is the time for Seudah Shlishit? The proper time, right? So the proper time is really when it's time for mincha. What is the earliest time for mincha? 1/2 hour after chatzot, right? So chatzot now is 12:10, so about 12:40, right? That's the earliest time you can do Seudah Shlishit, 12:40. Yeah, usually we do later, right? But that's the earliest you can do it. Sometimes a person needs to do early, He has to go somewhere, he's got something to do, whatever. Later on, he won't have time, So if he doesn't do it now, later on, right, it's going to be too late, he won't have time.
The earliest mincha they do like 2 o'clock.
I'm sorry?
The earliest mincha.
Yeah, what they do is one thing, right? But halakha is halakha, right? That's something else. Okay, whatever, right? Whatever is good for them, it's good for them. God bless them. But anyway, as we said, right? So it's very important, Seudah Shlishit, to do it on the proper time. So that's the earliest time you can do. But according to Kabbalah, right, Seudah Shlishit you're supposed to do after Tfilat HaMincha, So really the better way to do is first Mincha and then Seudah Shlishit. But if a person is not able to do that for some reason, let's say he's got something to do, as we said, right? He's got some kind of situation, so then he can do also before Mincha. You can do before Mincha also, Seudah Shlishit. How is that? But you're not supposed to, right, eat before Mincha, because it's a Seudat mitzvah, that's why. It's a mitzvah, so therefore you can do, if you have a need for it. It's not a regular Seudat mitzvah, that's something else. Okay, fine, right? So that's in terms of the timing. What's the latest time you can do Seudah Shlishit, right? Always people are talking about this. What's the latest time? So the truth is that really, lechatchila, a person should try to do before Shkia. Seudah Shlishit. That's like the proper thing to do, before the sunset. So now, right, sunset, what time is it? It's about 5:30, right? Whatever, right? So you got to try to do it before that, lechatchila. Let's say he wasn't able to, start before sunset. Sometimes, goes a little bit late, right? How much time do you have? So the truth is, in the winter, you have like 10 minutes after sunset. In the winter. In the summer, like 15, 20 minutes you have. Because the day is longer. You know what I mean? So you can still do. What about if a person wasn't able to do, even 15, 20 minutes, he wasn't able to do. Late, he ran late, right? So can you do according to Rabbeinu Tam? Yes, you can do according to Rabbeinu Tam, if you have no choice. You know what I mean? If you weren't able to do before. Rabbeinu Tam, you know how much that is, right? 72 minutes after Shkia. Well, it's a long time. He can't even do like that, according to Rabbeinu Tam. He has no choice. Got no choice, Why do I tell you that? Because according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, according to the Ramah, according to 30 Rishonim, halacha zek Rabbeinu Tam, Not like we don't pass like the Gonim. And also, the majority of the poskim say like Rabbeinu Tam. That's what it says in Yebi Omer. Maran Rabbi Shalom. Yebi Omer, he writes that like that. So for sure, if a person had no choice, he can rely on Rabbeinu Tam, of course. What's the question? Maran Shulchan Aruch, Ramah, 30 Rishonim, most of the poskim like Rabbeinu Tam they pass him. So you don't know. In Maran Ali Smoke, you don't know what to rely on? Of course you do. What's the question? But our minhag is not like that. The minhag is not like Rabbeinu Tam. Minhag is to do before Shkia, So if you can do before Shkia, or 10 minutes, after, this is the proper thing to do. This is the proper way to do it. Says the Ramah something interesting, This happens, by the way, sometimes. It never happened to me, Baruch Hashem. But it could happen. You know what it is? Let's say, for instance, a person, Leil Shabbat, right? They finished the tefillah. He went home, and he didn't do the Seudah that night. Let's say, he fell asleep, right? Sometimes he's so tired, right? People are so tired. He worked all week, so tired. He went home, near down, fell asleep, and he woke up, it's already in the morning. Too late. So what do you do in a case like that, right? So says the Ramah, what you do is, have shalosh seudot in the day. If you weren't able to do it at night, so then in the daytime, after you pray, right, you do the finish at tefillah, do 3 seudot. Instead of doing 2, do 3. Because you have to do 3 anyway, on Shabbat. No matter what. So if you weren't able to do it at night for some reason, in the day you got to do 3.
You're talking about Friday night.
Right. There's no other choice. That's what the Ramah writes. He's right. There's no question about it. You have to do 3. There's no other way. Okay, fine. Let's go now, right, to another issue, which is, right, what are you supposed to eat, So the truth is, right, the Shulchan Aruch brings several opinions about this, but the Shulchan Aruch paskins that you have to have bread, for Seder Shlishi. You need bread. So lechatchila, a person should do like that, Don't just say, I'll have mezonot, I'll have some fruit, so I'll have some eggs, some fish. It's not enough. You have to have bread. It's a seudah. Seudah needs bread. You know what I mean? There is a machloket. So therefore, right, it says Shulchan Aruch, if you are very full, from the morning, right, you ate a lot, right, as we said, right, sometimes in the morning a person eats a lot, or he ate late, So if he wasn't able to do, with bread, so then, he has no choice sometimes, he's so full, he can just eat a little fruit or something, So let him at least do that, better than nothing, right? Because at least he has what to rely on. But the truth is, it's not proper to do that way, right, as we said. The proper thing to do, Seudah Shlishit with bread. Right? That's the proper thing to do. We already spoke about this with Boris, right? We spoke about this. What about if a person, he had a big meal in the morning, or he ate late, right? And he has no room now to eat, he's too full. So what's really the halacha, right? So if you remember, what I told you was like this, that a person, it says in the Shulchan Aruch like this, Chacham ena berosho. What does that mean? If you're going to be so full like this, so don't eat so much in the morning, be a chacham, and plan everything out. So this way, if you eat too much in the morning, there's going to be no more room. And you're going to lose the mitzvah. No good.
The most important meal, in the morning. But
you're right, but you don't have to eat 2 tons, you can eat a little bit less. Save some room, for those Seudah Shlishit. That's what we're saying, right? Mechila, what are you saying? I'm saying
limitation.
Exactly, yeah. You got to, chacham, be a chacham, Know yourself, know your stomach, right? How it works. So the truth is, but the truth is, emet, like emet. If he really, is so full, he didn't watch himself. He's so full, that he can't eat. He's patur. He's not chayav to force himself. He's not chayav. But Shulchan Aruch says, right, don't come to that. Don't bring yourself to the situation. Be chacham. Because if you patur and you don't eat, so you're losing all the zechut of Seudah Shlishit, all the zechut that we just mentioned, you're losing, and also, as we said, right, it also, all the bracha comes from there. Says a Kaf HaChaim, brings from the Kabbalah, Kaf HaChaim. He says, shalosh seudot we have on Shabbat, right? So these shalosh seudot, they give you parnasah for the whole week. As we said, right, we mentioned this. So how does it work? Right? The first seudah gives you parnasah for Sunday and Monday. Right? Second seudah, Tuesday, Wednesday. Third seudah, Thursday, Friday. So you see, right? Everything is accurately, 100%. Each seudah is 2 days parnasah for the whole week. So make sure, don't eat so much. You're going to be patur. We already mentioned, right? Also another thing, right? Which was that says Shulchan Aruch, Maran Shulchan Aruch. He writes like this. Let's say a person, right, is eating late. The shul came out late, right? As you said, some people daven late. You know how it is, right? Some people lazy. Maran used to call them, Rabbi Danielov, he used to call them the lazy people. Lazy minyan. They start at 9 o'clock. If you're starting at 9 o'clock, you're a lazy minyan. The truth is that you should be finishing at 9 o'clock and not starting. What are you doing? How are you praying at 9 o'clock? Right? Lazy minyan, no good. I'll tell you something, really funny. That there was one time, true story. I was living in Yerushalayim, in the Shchuna Givat Shol for like 2 years. I lived there, Givat Shol. Most of the time I was not there. But anyway, there was a chief rabbi there, Rabbi Yonah was his name, right? Rabbi Yonah. You know Rabbi Yonah? He's a famous guy. Dayan, whatever. So he's the rabbi of Givat Shol, the neighborhood over there, So what happened was that came some, young guys over there, right? And they opened the minyan over there in Givat Shaul. 9 o'clock minyan. Oh! Sfardim, yeah. Sfardish. Right? So what happened? Rabbi Yonah, he's Sfardi, Iraqi, So he heard about it, that they opened this minyan. What did he do? He went and he closed it down, He said, I don't want minyan like this in my neighborhood. It's a disgrace. Starting minyan at 9 o'clock, too late. What is this business? That's why he closed it. Maran also told us, Rabbi Yashom, Maran, he told us, if I would see minyan after 8 o'clock, I close it down. I don't want any minyan after 8 o'clock. That's it, too much. 7:30, he said latest, that's it, no more. 7:30, that's the latest minyan I want. Not more than that. 8 o'clock, too late. 9 o'clock is lazy minyan. So why do I tell you, right? Again, 9 o'clock, right? What happens is like this. When they pray late like this, when they pray late, right? So what happens? They finish 12:30, lazy, Then they come home at 1 o'clock, and the wife is waiting for him, to make kiddush, she's hungry, You're making your wife crazy like this also. It's not nice, not kavod for your wife, She's waiting for you. You come home 12:30. She's been hungry already for 3 hours, waiting for you. That's not nice. You know who told me this? He told us, you're not being nice to your wife like this when you come home late. 12:30. What is this business? So, what happens is, right, that if you ate late, 1 o'clock, so what's going to be, says Maran, you're already going to be full all day. You won't be hungry for Seudah Shlishit. You won't be hungry, So therefore, says Maran, we mentioned this before, right? People got a little bit surprised when I told you this. He says, do 2 seudot right there, do 2. If it's too late. Because later you won't be hungry. That's what he says. That's how he paskins, So what does that mean? Do Birkat Hamazon, and then do another one. Yalla, check, another kazait, eat another. That's what he says. There are some who argue with this, by the way, but that's how he paskins, man, Shulchan Aruch. Okay, fine. So, right, another interesting thing is, right, I'll stop here, I don't want to go too long, Mechila. So, another interesting thing, right, so let's sheet. How much do you have to eat, right? How much do you need bread to eat? So let's just So Maran says, if you're full, and you don't have much room, try to eat at least kabetza, kabetza. How much is that? 50 grams. There are some poskim will say even kazait you can have, So b'diavad, if you had kazait, yatzai dechova, but lechatchila, try to eat kabetza, because egg size, it's not so big, it's not so much. Today the eggs are very small, right? Like they're like pigeons' eggs today, the eggs today, they're so small. Even the jumbo, they're small. So that's the thing, So try to eat at least that much, what the Maran says, So a person, should, as we said, right, save some room, because if you don't have room, how are you going to eat Seudah Shlishit? ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. רבי חנין המלך שאומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות ישראל, לפיכך הכיר בא להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר אדוני חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.